What's up? It's Coolimp, Justin, other assorted names that aren't always polite to say in company, and yes, I may open up every single video that way. I don't know. Trying to do this thing proper and all that shit. So, today's movie. It's been about a week, and I watched Haunting at Silver Falls. It is a horror mystery movie. I won't call it suspense as it's listed on Rotten Tomatoes, where it has a 32% score. But I don't trust it entirely. Now, it's a 2013 movie. And it sits at 100 minutes. It's actually really, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Watching through the movie, the biggest thing that I saw in it is the world seemed to be grounded in a solid reality. Rules exist for every single thing that operates in it. Why does the kid who's selling drugs seem to get away from the cops? His papa's the sheriff. So yeah, I noticed that 40 minutes in is that everything seemed to be grounded in a solid, hard reality. We didn't have any of this all of a sudden, well, specters and things change and all of a sudden the rules don't apply anymore. And that's super important for me when it comes to movies. Just going over my notes that I have, because I really, like I said, I sat down, I enjoyed it, and and since I want to review these things properly, I took the time to write out notes while the movie played. The biggest thing to me is people seemed real. And for a horror movie, one of the things that normally bothers me about them is the characters make stupid decisions for stupid reasons. Stupid. Let's go into this haunted house that we think is haunted, where people go into and disappear. No. I'll pass on that. Are we gonna go into the first bathroom you see and summon Bloody Mary too? Ooh, and Candyman? Oh yeah, let's do that stuff too. Might as well summon the ghost of Biggie Smalls. So you have these people in a lot of these movies that do stupid things that don't make sense for nobody. Why are you doing this action? Oh, it's in the script? Go blow yourself. Seriously. That's as good as you're effective, and I'm not even going to assign you a name. You are meat fodder. You are just waiting to be murdered, and I do not care. However, for Jordan, the main character of the movie, and I'll get into the protagonist about this here in a few minutes, she seems like she's a real person rather than just a inconsequential pawn in a game where you're eventually going to be murdered. And that's important. Again, like I said, I'm happy everything in the movie had a reality it followed. You never had a point where the reality did not seem to fit the rules the movie had established. So, the ghosts do the typical ghosty things that you see happen in movies. Open doors, being nuisances, nothing severe. And then, at one point, it escalates. Where they're trying to get the ring off. But they're not really affecting her, they're affecting the ring. And that plays into the conclusion of the movie. Now, as we're going through this, they begin to think she's crazy. That's what everyone says. Oh, well, it was just a story, and, well, I kind of mentioned these people in passing to you. I didn't call them by name. So you probably picked up on something I said when I was trying to be super sweet to you. Because this is the character that's playing her boyfriend. Who's this really nerdy, atypical type of guy in the movies where they get the chick. So, I want to say something real quick. I have now, nor ever have I been, a female teenager. So, that said, the first interaction with the psychologist, who is her boyfriend's father, who thinks she gave him a whole bunch of drugs to take, but is still her therapist. See where I'm going with this? It seemed real to me. That's the thing. I would feel really uncomfortable talking to that type of person if they'd essentially accused me of corrupting their child. Right on. I believe you. And I keep coming back to this, but the characters seem real. Her foster parents, which is her aunt and her uncle, uncle-in-law, whatever, but her aunt, who is her mother's sister, God, that sounds so stupid. Her aunt is the blood relative. The uncle is an in-law. However you want to view that. So that said, they behave like most people would honestly exist. Ghosts don't really exist. Sorry. You're probably going crazy. That's what an honest parent figure would do. A role model. You probably need to go and see a psychiatrist. You need to go see a therapist. You're seeing ghosts. And there's points where you know there's going to be obvious fake outs and things like that. But getting towards the conclusion of the movie, they throw out about a dozen red herrings all at once. Well, half a dozen, because there's not that many characters in the movie overall. They try to make it seem like the drug dealer, who is the sheriff's son, may have raped several girls. They try to make it seem like the sheriff may have covered up a couple of couple of rapes. They try to make it seem like the psychiatrist might have done it, because he seems to be very interested in just the two girls that she's talking about. It is very... They throw these out all at once, and it's like, oh my god, it's the aunt and uncle. It's silly. It's... All of a sudden, they go from being what would seem like rational people to irrational people. So the boyfriend comes over. Now, the boyfriend is the one who let her parents, her aunt and uncle, and his father know where she was going to be. So they could actually pick her up and start therapy. And explain, look, there's been other people. They've all hung themselves after speaking with their father. Fine, they all say that they hadn't seen anything, but they still end up killing themselves. Yay! Now, this is where the movie suddenly loses its grip, or it's trying to use it as a character study of people who have committed murder and are now trying to cover up each time that they do it. They suddenly become very creepy and sloppy. Now, I know, because I've known a few people who've taken, like, college-level psychology classes, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we all know that person. That with serial killers, especially serial killers, and you can do this study independently and take a look into it, they always end up getting sloppy. It's just murders over time. Almost, I think, all of them have been caught after a while. But when we take a look at it, it's like, okay, this seems weird. Very weird. Now, they would be more cautious about talking about their open plans of hanging their niece and or just murdering her in general and then burying her body before anything else happened. He is literally in the light by the garage when they walk out the door and look around. And then they just start talking. Now, that could be shitty directing, shitty editing. But he rode there on a bike. They would still be able to see him from their front porch. You've been getting away with murder for years. Years. And now you're going to be sloppy. I don't buy it. It doesn't seem like it's the evolution of a killer breaking down and slowly going in and just driving it further and further down. Being honest here, it doesn't seem like it. And in the end, you know, it has the ending you're going to expect. The evil's punished, justice prevails. But which justice is more important? Now, I presume, because of the time frame that they tried to keep with the movie, that the father of the two girls, the twin ghosts, had already died. Because that's kind of what they set up, is he was on death row, he was about to die. But which is more important, the justice for the ghost or having someone exonerated from their crime? It's a good question. Now, I've said it again, but with the ending, having never been a teen girl, and I know I was going to say that again, I couldn't say if I would have been able to forgive the boyfriend so easily, or if there had been more to it for me. I know as a guy, if someone turned me over like that, that's about as much as I need to forgive them. Hey, give me a kiss. Oh, all made up, but maybe that's just me as an individual. Now, I kind of prepared this last part, and I'm not good at scripting, so I'm probably going to be going off script a little bit. Sorry. Overall, what they tried to do is make a good movie with ghosts. The ghost should have been the greater focus. Jordan is played up as the protagonist, but really she isn't. It's the ghost. Or at least I feel it was the ghost twins that were. Once they properly introduced you to them, to the ghost, you see them in a lot of scenes. Whether it's walking down the street, when they're just standing there, it makes you think Jordan's seeing them constantly. And that's something that would have worked really well for me. If they would have been in all the scenes where Jordan was, just standing there. Not doing anything, mind you. Just standing in place. Pointing at the finger. Sorry, my clipboard kept falling off my lap. I think that would have been a really interesting thing, and you could have explored it as more of a psychological thing rather than a physical thing. Which gives me to the second part of this. You could have had it as not a horror movie, but as just a psychological thriller. And I think it would work better in that genre. The reason why is because now you have someone who says that they're seeing ghosts, but could have been sleepwalking. How did she know about the ring in her aunt's little jewelry box? Because she sleepwalked it and her subconscious memory saw it. She accidentally found the ring in the forest. When she saw the father, the ghost twins' father, he gave it over because he saw the ring and didn't recognize it. Or he recognized it and it just happened to be a coincidence. Why he would still be allowed to wear that ring is beyond me. Normally that shit gets taken away from him. So, a lot of it could have been coincidence. Just set up and beautifully done, because the father doesn't need to know that it's really ghost. He may believe it's the ghost, but on that ring, on the front finger, could have been a coincidence. And yes, I know if it was the other way around, I'd probably be dogging it for all the coincidences. But in this movie, I think it would have worked better. If she was sleepwalking, it would explain some of the things. How she got the mud on her feet. Because I'm assuming she cleaned it up. because she washes her feet off, and you see her washing her feet off in the sink. The ring, the scarf, and every other little minor detail would have been much more beautiful if it had been just pure psychological thriller. She had seen it because she was sleepwalking and she walked into these situations. She was having difficult sleeping, so she slept in after those two had gone to work. For some reason, it seems like they wanted to go with the ghost angle just to drop it into the horror genre. But I think it would have worked better that way. I really do. In this case, I don't think it was necessarily... You could even kept the same name, A Haunting, at Silver Falls, and it's still been just effective. That this is the way it could have been, and you might have had a better movie. Because I saw a lot of reviews that kind of say, well, it's meh, not well acted, not a good script, things like that. But I enjoyed it. I did. I would recommend people to watch it. If you've got other things you want to watch, I wouldn't put it above it type of thing. But it's a good watch. It's the characters seem real. And for me, in a horror movie, especially in a horror and comedy, those are the two genres I like most, horror and comedy. It really works if you believe the characters are real and they're not just cardboard cutouts ready for being murdered. She seems like someone who would be doing things like that as a character, not just as a... On page 3 of my script, it says to say this line. This line. Walk to the other side of the room. I walk to the other side of the room. Yeah. So I think it would work better with it not being a horror movie, but a psychological thriller. And then you could have her be able to keep her life, because now her foster parents, her aunt and uncle, are dead, brutally murdered, presumably, by the two ghosts that they killed, or... Yeah, they killed them, I believe. It's inconsequential. I believe they killed them, and her mother found out, and so they killed her too. Whatever, all details. So it's really interesting to sit down and watch the movie and say, this is where it did well, this is where it did not. I like the characters, I like the acting, I like the story. But I'm going to sign off here. Give it a watch. Like I said, I think they did a good job with it.